Welcome to the Interview Podcast, the voice of InterCT. InterCT's aim is to help young athletes become excellent individuals through the vehicle of soccer. Love the game, love to learn, and love to compete at InterCT.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Interview Podcast. I'm Jared Mazzola. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Tom Robinson, and we have a special guest, Pedro Oliveira. How you doing, boys?
Good afternoon. How's everyone doing this day? Beautiful, cold.
Weather's good.
Good to be here. Pedro can only be a special guest so many times until he's just on the podcast, right?
Pedro is a
special guest appearance.
I try to be a good guy, around you always.
No, it definitely helps, and I think it's going to help with today's topic, just trying to get a little bit more information out to the union branches and make sure they're aware of what's going on. Me and Aaron are very dialed in with the Norwalk. We do have a good idea of what's happening elsewhere, but there's no one better than the person who lives and breathes it every day. So
that's it.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, Pedro, of course. So we have another very special guest on later. This special guest was recorded last week because it was one of the times that he could do it. But it is my brother, Jared Mazzola, goalkeeper for the Greenville Triumph. Now he's out of contract. But I found out today, actually, there's a bunch of championship sides that are interested in him.
Nice.
So that's
great.
There might be a shout there. But before we get to Jared, we have to hear from Pedro and some of the stuff that Milford and Union is going to be running throughout the winter. So, Pedro, the show is yours, sir.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate. So we are starting our winter programs fairly soon, starting actually next week. We have from 8-week programs to 4-week programs, regular training, futsal training, winter league, positioning-specific training, all that starting at ages 4 years and up. And it's available for all ages of play, levels of play. And our programs will be staged at the Shelton Boys and Girls Club, obviously in Shelton. So we have every registration open for those winter programs for Union side of the club. You go to our website, intercitfc.com/unionwintertraining.com, and you'll be able to access all the registrations for every single program that I just mentioned to all of you. I will suggest that everyone goes there, registers your boy or your girls, and it is a great moment to have them increase their training and their playing capabilities, as well as they move on into the next season within the club. Or even if you're not in the club, it's always a good way to enjoy the beautiful game of soccer as well.
Yeah, of course. And we've spoken about this before on the podcast, but the winter is a great time to get as many touches on the ball as possible. And, we hold so many programs in Norwalk, but we also hold a bunch of programs over with Union. So, Pedro, can you just talk about what towns and what area you really cater to over in Union?
Yeah, so Union, we based in Milford, and we incorporated Shelton recently to our Milford side of the program. Shelton, Milford, Fairfield, Trumbull, even Derby, all surrounding towns that we have close to our branch. will be able to take advantage of our programs in the winter. And not only that, but also if anyone listening to this podcast and as someone interested in joining Inter Union to play, we have tryouts open for that as well, and for the future as well. So it will be a great opportunity for the surrounding towns to bring their kids into Union and learn from our programs and be better at every single touch on the ball that as Coach Aaron mentioned, it's important in the winter. Lots of touches in the ball that we're going to do.
Yeah, of course. And Tom, if say a family lives over in Trumbull or near Trumbull, can they pick and choose whether they go to Norwalk or go to Union? You know, say a family, you know, plays for Norwalk, the Norwalk side, can they go and play during the winter and sign up for winter programs at Union?
Yeah, that's actually something I just recommended this morning to one of the families who live in Fairfield. They go skiing. On the boys' side in Norwalk, our training is usually Thursday or Friday. Unfortunately, some of the people that are in our program, you know, they're not available Friday, they go skiing. So, you know, that is another element that, you know, hey, maybe the boys up at Union, they've got something going on there, and you can go and jump in there for a session to just get touches in and make use of it, you know. So, you know, with our locations that we have, you know, if you do live in that Westport, Fairfield kind of area, you do have the ability to go either way. Where I live in Fairfield, it takes me the exact same amount of time to get from my house to Norwalk, my house to Shelton, and my house to Milford. They're all exactly like 20.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's obviously the traffic might depend on which time you're setting off around, but yeah, it's good options. And I think one thing that I just want to stress is the winter for us as a club. You know, I think I joked about it a few weeks ago when we first started the podcast. You know, to us, soccer's not a seasonal sport. You know what I mean? It's not just, hey, we're just going to do this in the fall. It's year round. You know, the only time that we don't run things, you know, mandatory really is in the summer. And that's just because we do know people travel a little bit more. We go more on the camp format. There's not as many leagues or tournaments to do, but we typically see, you know, the commitment that we want from our players all the way through, you know, starting August. We don't finish until mid-June. So as that to us, that's a normal season. You know what I mean? We do want players to enjoy themselves, have a life, go away. You know, we will try and accommodate where possible if you are away on Fridays. One of the issues that we're having is people like, hey, can I get in a session on Monday? And in Norwalk, the only sessions on Monday are the girls. So, you know, it's not really like I can't then just make up a session. So we do promote the extra programs, you know, extra time, the elite group training, the winter leagues, similar programs that Pedro's got going up there. And I know they've got multiple things, you know, the complete player program that they're running up there sounds really exciting. After talking to Stephen about it, we've actually incorporated that into a program we're going to try and run in Norwalk, where it's not just, hey, we're going to teach you what you're already good at. We're going to try and make you the complete player by teaching you, hey, this is what you're going to do as a defender. This is what you got to do as a midfielder, and here you as your winger / attacker. So yeah, if you want to travel, you can take the advantage of how big the club is and all our different locations. And also, it's always great to hear a different voice. You know, Pedro's upbringing is different to mine. His style is going to be different to mine. It's all going to be good information. Same with Aaron, right? We got 3 people on here from 3 different countries. We all love the game. The information is going to be the same, but it's going to be delivered a different way. And I think that's only a good thing for kids to learn. You know, you don't only want Coach Aaron's style. You don't only want, you know, Coach Amade's style. You want something different, because unfortunately you're going to have a different coach as you grow through these age groups.
Yep. Completely agree with that. It's a great thing to note there. But we do have so many programs. So go on the website, check it out. As we've mentioned previously in this podcast, we do recommend that everybody stays involved with Inter in some sort of way, even if it's just, you know, once a week training or, you know, the Saturday scrimmages that we do have. But we have so many programs running, so it's definitely within your interest and your child's interest to take a look and see what we have. We have opened a couple new registrations. One of them being the extra time for, I believe that starts in December, runs through December and January. So go on the website and look at that extra time over at SPU in Wilton. But on top of that, we also have our winter leagues that we do run at Northeast Athletic Center. 7v7, 9v9, 11v11 is more than likely closed, right?
Sold out. Coach
Sold
Anthony, I know he's in
out.
the background there. He's done a great job. It's sold out. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, we don't have any more spots unless somebody drops out through an injury or can't make it. Fully sold out that one.
Nice. But very important to note that spots do sell out, and we have 40 total. 9v9, I believe there's 20 something left. So
Yeah.
it should fill up very quick. So get in there as soon as you possibly.
Yeah, I think if you're an InterCT parent currently on the teams listening to this, we've spent the last 2 or 3 weeks giving you guys priority to register so that you have time to get everything in line for your schedule. And it's something Pedro's going to touch on in a second, but we have tryouts coming up. So just so people know how the tryouts work, the Union branch, the Norwalk branch, we've all got tryouts coming up. And what we're going to do for those players that don't make a team, get selected for something else, we are going to promote our winter leagues in the, hey, come and do this if you want to be part of Inter-Connecticut down the line. Come and see our players doing this. And that's where we sell these programs out. So like we talked about a few weeks ago, I would much rather sit there on a Sunday refereeing games, coaching games, and it be all my 2015 players. But we've given you guys 3 weeks to sign up now. And then after kind of we have our tryouts, we're just going to try and fill it as much as we can with mixtures of really good players from other clubs, really good players from other programs, like as in travel or, you know, things like that. We actually had in the previous time people come from New York because where Sono's located. They would come over and travel in and play with us there. So that's kind of my little bit on that. You know, if you are interested, take advantage of it. You know, I had those emails on the election day camp. I can't believe you sold out. We do sell things out. We don't just say that just to make you guys sign up. They do sell out. And then unfortunately, you know, I'm the bad guy who has to say, sorry, I'm sold out. I can't take you. You know, I had to have that conversation with 3 people on Monday evening at All Saints when they was like, oh, I didn't realize it would sell out. And I was like, yeah, sorry, it's sold out. I can't then change someone else's experience because you didn't get to the party soon enough. So, yeah, I'll kick it over to Pedro to give us some more information regarding Union, but more specifically the high school tryouts, right, Pedro?
Yes, Tom, thank you very much. And it's you have a great point, not just in general, but it's, you know, when we mention about the programs that we have, they definitely are fundamental for our kids' development, you know, for our players' development as they move on into their teams. As for the Union tryouts, we are going to have boys and girls high school tryouts, but I'm going to refer specifically to the boys tryout, where I am going to take a lead on that for the Union side. And it's going to be November 15th and the 16th. That is next week. 2009s and 2008s and 2007s and 2006. Those are the group ages there. We are going to have those tryouts for. We are focused on specifically forming 08 and 09 teams out of the Union side here. And the tryouts will be 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. for the 08s, 09s, and 07s and 06 will be 6:30 to 8 p.m. That will be at YMCA Orange Avenue Turf Fields in Milford. And that is for all the players in the surrounding areas, Milford, Shelton, Trumbull, Fairfield, Derby, even West Haven. And we have the opportunity to form 2 teams here to start the high school program in this area. We have on the boys' side a lot of great programs here in our surrounding areas. Specifically talking about Shelton and Milford. You know, we have obviously Shelton High School and Milford. We have 2 high schools law, which I coach at, and foreign high school as well. And those programs are always great programs, and they are feeded by our players from the high school division in our club in Norwalk currently. So that is a great opportunity for the boys to jump into the experience of club high school soccer. It's obviously a different approach than it is in high school. We're gonna have obviously more sessions to train, more specifically approaches and what we want them to do and to become a better players. And all that will translate when they go back in next year in their high school season. You see a great difference from when they are or not playing in club level high school. So that is the opportunity we have. And I want everyone that's listening is from these surrounding areas, Milford, Shelton, Trumbull, Fairfield, Derby, West Haven. Go on our website, www.intercityfc.com, and look for the Union branch, and the tryouts, high school tryouts are there for everyone to register. And if you do have any questions, by all means, please reach out to me. My email information is on the registration when you go there to sign up for that. Anything else you may need, please be by all means connect with Aaron or Tom. Will be able to get to me as well.
Yeah, we can direct you if you have any questions about programs over at Union. We can direct you in the right way. But Pedro, really quick. So November 15th and 16th, correct?
Correct. That's correct. November 15th, 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. is the 09s and the 08s. 07s and 06, it's 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Again, it's the YMCA Orange Avenue Turf Fields in Milford. When you log in and register for the tryouts, there is the specific address so you can enter on your GPSs and find your way to the fields. It's very easily. When you get closer to the fields, you'll see the fields right there when you approach the field. So it's again November 15 and the 16, 09s and 08s 5 to 6:30 p.m. and 07s and 06 6:30 to 8 p.m.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Pedro. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. That. Thank you so much, guys, for having me again. Appreciate
it. No problem. But before we move on to my brother and the other interview that we have, the discussion, I wanted to touch on this past weekend because I think that I had one of the most competitive weekends throughout this season for me and all four teams really. So I'll start with my 2010 EDP, really competitive game versus Ole. And, it was so close, but in the second half, they pulled away from us. And, I'm just really happy with how the boys have, started the season, and now we're coming to the end, and really happy with how they're finishing. But we had a game Monday night under the lights at All Saints versus Fairfield, which was really cool experience for the boys, playing under the lights 7:30 on a weeknight, which is actually pretty cool. Lost 2-1 to that, but again, they fought. It was a really competitive game, and it could have gone either way. But on the younger side now, 2013 RL played Oakwood. We had a very competitive game versus them when we played at Oakwood, and it was even more competitive this past weekend. And again, RL and SL teams on the boys side are playing in this new Zone 1 Academy League, and we are competing. And that's the biggest, most important thing. Even it doesn't matter the score. The thing that is the most important is that we're competing in these matches. And same thing with the 2013 SL. Same thing, 2-1 loss, very competitive game. 2013 EDP, 2-1 win versus Ole, very competitive game. So just wanted to throw that in there. The teams that, even though that we're losing, it's still a very competitive game, and all of my teams have progressed throughout the season. And I'm pretty sure that's the same for you, Tom, and I know that's the same for Imade.
Yeah, I ultimately think that our teams are now starting to get it. They're starting to realize what we're trying to achieve. We're starting to understand that we are looking for competition over just winning games. But unfortunately, we've got one weekend left. You know what I mean? I was watching Amade's boys on Saturday after my game had finished, and I was like, wow, if you guys had, done this from the beginning, but the reason they hadn't is because Amade had not got going with them yet. You know what I mean? It's not going to be an instant change once you get a new coach and new faces and trying to understand different systems, plus the new league. So, for me as a general manager overseeing, I actually like that, where if we start the league a little rough, but then there's growth, right? It's worse when you start the league well and it goes the other way. So, I was watching them. I was watching Amade. You can tell he was thinking about it. He was playing a different formation. I'm very much a 2-3-1 type of guy at 7v7, and he was 3-2-1, and the other team that he was playing against couldn't really deal with it. And for me, it's just level of competition, right? We talk about the different stages at Inter Connecticut, how you go through the, just loving the game at 7v7. Love of development at 9v9, and then love of competition at 11v11. And the reason we do that is by the time you get to 11v11, if you are on one of those RL teams, you are expected to compete regionally. And that's one of our teams did that. The 2010 RL team, great example, right? Very good group, very talented group. Started the season rough. They were doing well in games, just couldn't put the ball in the net.
Couple ties, right?
Yeah, started off 3 or 4 ties. And then since kind of Columbus weekend, they've won a tournament. They won the FSA tournament without losing. And then they've been on a win streak all the way, but also scoring some absolute bangers, by the way.
Bangers.
I don't pick the goals of the week, but if I could pick the winner, Quinny, who scored it? You know the goal I'm talking about?
Yeah, Casey.
The build-up alone, right? Casey doesn't do anything phenomenal. It's not a 70-yard worldy strike, but the build-up play, the ball from Kieran in behind, the cutback cross.
Wing as well, which is what I like.
Started on the left, and then got all the way out to the right. So, the stuff like that's more beneficial to me and the coaches than, smacking a team 7-8-0. And I think it's same for with Anthony being there in the background. Anthony's 2010 SL, right? We were thinking the league was too easy for them because they were scoring the same goal every single week with, balls over the top and was just being more powerful than the other teams. And in the last few weeks, much more competitive games and now find themselves where I think if they have the right result this weekend, then, there's another group who could win the league and potentially then boosted up in the spring into the best league inside Connecticut. So not only did we have our 2010 RL winning the New England South Academy, we would have our so-called second team, our SL state level team, playing in the top level, playing against other teams' best teams. So, it's an exciting age group, exciting overall the level of competition that we're hanging at. And then during the winter and the spring, we'll have more ECRL opportunities for those players as well. So it's feel like we're just cracking the surface, Aaron, and I know we'll have a directors meeting with the other clubs with the Zone 1 Academy just on how we can improve it. How can we make it even better? We were discussing having better referees, trying to get away from the more elderly refs and try and have some of the younger people who are trying to learn, trying to get official sideline linesmen's in there and try and benefit that way, because we do really want this Zone 1 Academy to be the best thing that Connecticut has at youth soccer, and then people wanting to get in there, and there's only us 6 clubs who have access.
Love that. That's it. It's a testament to what our goals are and how big we want to make this and how much we want to grow. It really is a testament to, Leon, Marty, you, Tom, you've done a great job with this club and you've grown it so much, and we're looking to grow more. That's a very, very big thing to know.
No, definitely. And just before we kick it to your brother and show how high tech we're getting with this, recording interviews in advance, I do want to give Aaron a special shout out. He was arguably the busiest man at All Saints this week. You had what, Saturday? You was there pretty much all day, right? You had a 9 o'clock, and then you was a lifesaver and jumping in to give Coach Gene help. And then Sunday you was back there doing 3 games covering Coach Sean. And then Monday, I felt a little bit guilty of how much effort and time Aaron had put into us. So I stayed with you until maybe 9 o'clock. And
No,
I don't think I could feel my fingers. Was it 8 o'clock? I don't remember.
Yeah, it was like 8:45.
I couldn't feel my fingers, and I was like, I got to go home. But no, the hard work doesn't go unnoticed. And then a special shout out to me for all the staff that came up and gave up their election day to be on the camp. The camp was great, very beneficial for everyone who took part. The numbers was great. I think we had over 45 kids there. We had 6 groups, and the coaching that was delivered. I was there for pretty much 2.5 hours of the camp. Really good stuff, and something that we do want to make more use of as we go down the line. So, special shout out to Aaron for the stint that he put in Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Oh, no worries.
Then big thank you to all the staff that helped yesterday on the field, especially those people who technically Tuesdays are their days off. So, they came in, helped us, Colin and Anthony mainly are the ones I'm referring to there. But then the other staff that hung around, for myself yesterday, I think I was out of the house from 7 a.m. and I don't think I got home until 9:30 p.m. So, they are long days. We care about this club. We love all the people that are inside there. We want to make everything as good as we can. And, like Aaron said, we do think we're onto something special here. So we do want to thank our members, and hopefully you enjoy the interview with Jared. I enjoyed it. I think that comes across in the interview with Pedro and Leon, and I think it's really
really fun. It was a really fun podcast, and just a conversation. He's my brother, and we speak a lot, but we don't really speak about things in depth like we did. In this, I believe it was 30 minutes, whatever it was. But here's someone who has come up through a pathway. Maybe it's not the inter pathway, but he was coached by Leon for several years. And, he had come up through this area and had played in this area. And now he's living his dream playing professional soccer. And he has so much knowledge now to give and to share his, I wouldn't say expertise because he's still very young, but share his experience and share his knowledge and share all of this stuff with the younger players that want to develop and eventually, if their dream is to turn professional. So thank you everybody for listening to this part, because we know that the part that you want to listen to is the next half an hour. But again, thanks for listening, and your support has meant a lot throughout this season. We have done a podcast every week, so kudos to you, Tom, and Pedro. Thank you for coming on the times that you have come on.
Appreciate that.
Yes, and thank you all for listening. We want to keep doing this, but we hope that you enjoy the next half an hour conversation with my brother, Jared Mazzola. All right, see everybody soon. Bye.
Yes, guys.
Bye.
Recording this. So. And welcome back, everybody. We are joined. I'm Aaron Mazzola. We are joined by Leon Othen, Tom Robinson, Pedro Oliveira, and a very special guest today, my younger brother who is taller than me, Jared Mazzola. How you doing, Jared?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for asking.
And you are currently down in sunny South Carolina.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
You finished your USL League One season not too long ago, unfortunately, right?
Yeah, we lost in the quarterfinal, but it was an overall good year for myself as well as the team. So that's very, I'm very fortunate to have played this year. So yeah.
We've spoken. Go ahead, Leon.
In following all the highlights and everything, and good save, Jared, and
thank you. Yeah, it was a good one for sure.
but we've spoken about.
I think Aaron, let's give Jared a proper introduction, because we have picked up maybe 5 or 6 extra listeners to our podcast since we discussed his journey and back on our USL podcast a few months ago, weeks ago, whatever it was. So just for you guys don't know everyone, if you're one of our newer listeners, Aaron, can you give us a little bit more of a background on your younger brother who's taller than you?
I was just gonna say we've spoken a little bit about Jared, but now that we have you on, I can introduce you, but I want you to introduce yourself. But Jared is my younger brother. He currently plays in USL League One for the Greenville Triumph. He is the starting goalkeeper. But Jared, if you could tell, I mean, I already know you, but if you tell everybody else over here about yourself and some of the things that you're doing right now.
Yeah, as you said, I'm playing for Greenville Triumph in USL League One, basically like 3rd division in the US. It's a good level. I'm out of a contract this year, so I'm a free agent. I just played on my option year. Looking at like all my options right now. This was my first full calendar year as a pro and my first playing year as a pro. I think I played 33 games, almost 3,000 minutes, which is huge for my development this past year. What else is there? Yeah, that's basically it from this year. Yeah.
Well, you played in US Open Cup.
Yeah, I played in US Open Cup. We unfortunately lost 1-0 to Phoenix Rising. That was good. That was a really good game. That was a lot of fun as well.
You made a couple of saves in that game.
Yeah. That was like I said, that was a fun game. That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
How was it playing in the US Open Cup?
What was that?
How was it playing in the US Open Cup?
It was good. I think it's one of those that you don't really think much about until you're actually in it. Like being that it's actually like an in-season tournament, and being my first professional cup tournament was awesome. It didn't hit me until about like the first save I made that it was like real and that it meant a lot more than I thought it did. So that was cool. Yeah, it was definitely a really good experience. Excited to play in it next year and hopefully go a little bit further.
Yeah.
I was going to say, rewind, was it 10 years? As the first time I met you, Jared, right? When we were affiliated with Westchester with regards to the academy. And I was a coach there. And we're trained there at Sunny Purchase.
Oh, yeah. That was, was it 10 years? Probably longer than that, was it?
I thought it was longer than that.
It probably was longer than that, honestly. But yeah, I remember showing up because I was always the younger group to start, and being the first session with you, and we'd train, and then I'd try and like stick around and like annoy you after and hop in like the next 2 or 3 sessions with you just to like get as many reps as I could.
I think that's key, right, Jared, before you jump on. We discussed that the other week on doing additional, right? You could have easily just gone, hey, I've done my 1 hour and a half with Leon and leave. And it's one of the questions we get a lot as a coach, right? How does my kid get better? And it's finding ways on your own to do that. You know what I mean? And that's a classic example, right? I have it with my kids. And, if mums and dads are saying, hey, do you mind if you just hangs around for an extra 10 minutes? Sure. You know what I mean? And kind of, because that's going to help. And you can then also see those kids that are passionate, and I'm assuming that's what's helped you get to where you are, because you, from a younger age, right, you were willing to put in the extra time to fine tune that craft.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I could actually take it like a different way right now, in terms of like perspective. But being a relatively like undersized goalkeeper, like being 6 feet, and like today's like game is not like crazy tall. So being able to recognize some shortcomings I have in terms of height, and like allocating time elsewhere, like whether it be in the gym or on the field, and like trying to formulate my package, being that like whether I'm a super technical goalkeeper or really athletic goalkeeper, I can't just get there on talent alone. I need to make sure that I excel in other areas. And that was something that I think I developed really, really young, because I kind of saw where my trajectory was going to go, and I had to improve on certain things.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've always commended you for, Jared, is that yes, you've always been a great goalkeeper and a great shot stopper, but you have so many different areas of your game that have one improved since you realized that you weren't going to be the tallest. But you focused on so many different things, and that's one of the reasons why you are where you are. Is that I'm not saying that there's certain things that elevate you, but as a whole, you're a very well-rounded player, and you do a lot of things very well, and your shot stopping is amazing, but your height wasn't always a problem. I guess you can say it wasn't an issue, but you decided to build your whole game not just around your height, but also your athletic ability in a bunch of different ways. So that I think helps you, a lot.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, to Tom's point, I think that if you're just a young player, whether it be goalkeeper, outfield player, I don't think going to training 3 times a week is nearly enough. I think if you talk to any professional, especially now, like even like some of the older guys, they're always like, everyone's doing more, and if you're not doing more, then you're actually falling behind. And I think that starts the younger you can start that, the the quicker you can build that sort of habit that you need in order. Maybe you don't want to be a pro, maybe you just want to play in college or anything like that. But if you want to be a consistent coach's choice, then you have to be doing more than you think you are.
I think this ties in as well with our podcast last week where we talked about coachability and work ethic. I'll say from ever since we played soccer growing up, I couldn't even tell you how many times a week we would just walk up to the high school, Jared, and just hit long balls to each other.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It was
Yeah,
just an everyday thing, basically.
that's actually so funny that you brought that up, because I was just talking with one of the fans from the Triumph, and one of the best parts of my game is like just being able to absolutely smash the ball, like just put it like into the other box. And he was like, where did you develop that? Like, is it like just something you were born with? I was like, I would literally go to the high school from the age of 12 until basically like even last off season.
Yeah.
Like we just sit there and like genuinely like work on goal kicks and build it from short pass out of the back to just me just absolutely smashing it. So yeah, I mean, you got to recognize where you're going to try and excel. Like I realized I could hit the ball when I was, working with Leon, and then I was just like, yeah, we're going to make this my best part of my game.
And that kind of brings me on to, what you were saying before about knowing what you're good at. And I always believe, especially from a goalkeeper, but this, again, assigns to outfield players as well. You got to think to yourself, what is my superpower? What is it that's going to get me noticed? It was his shot-stopping ability and the way that he could kick a ball. With that. But then you've also got to say, all right, what is it that I could be liable for or may cause me to be an embarrassment? Whether, if you are a midfield player that can't pass, or if you're a goalkeeper that, if your thing here is height, Jared, then, what can you do to fix that? And your answer is you worked on your spring and your ability to be athletic, to get up and tip those balls over the bar and whatnot. But for everyone, it's going to be different based on your shape. If you can't distribute a ball, don't let that be an embarrassment. So there's 2 things. Number one, when people are looking at you is, wow, he's or she is really good at this. But you also want to eliminate the ability for people to say, oh, we don't want this goalkeeper because he or she is no good at that. I've had one at college, the kid can dive right. It's his embarrassment. So you fix it.
But
yeah, you're gonna go?
No, go ahead.
Yeah. Last year I actually heard someone talking about this on a podcast, so I won't pawn it off as my own. Basically, essentially, what this goalie said is that probably like the best piece of advice that I've ever like indirectly heard, meaning no one's ever like told me directly, was as a goalkeeper, as an outfield player, as someone who wants to market themselves, you need to develop a package that you can accurately sell week to week. So as a goalkeeper, if you decide that in your package and what you're good at is coming and collecting balls just in the inside the lines of the post up to the six, shot stopping and playing out of the back, but we can't expect you to kick the ball past halfway or vice versa. Develop the package any way you want, but that's what you need to sell week to week. That's what you have to strive to do. Yes, there's going to be mistakes, but at the end of the day, if the coaching staff can trust you to do those things correctly, then you'll be a consistent starter. But that goes for outfield players as well. If you're a winger, prime example is like everyone just watched the Beckham documentary.
Mm-hmm.
He just made a career out of whipping balls in and getting to the end line, just whipping balls in and set pieces. Like that was his package. That's what he did. So now if you can scale that down, because we're not David Beckham, if you can scale that down to a facet that is controllable for you, then you can become like, that's what you operate within. And then you start to add like little other parts to your game. Like if you're not strong on your weak foot, don't put yourself in scenarios where you can succeed. So if you're a goalkeeper and you want to play out through the other side, but you don't want to take a touch with your left foot or ping with your left foot, get back quicker so you can play with your right foot. That makes sense? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense. And I think you raised, a bunch of great points there. I think one of the biggest things is consistency. You have to market yourself in a way that it works towards your strengths, but you have to do that week in and week out on a daily basis or weekly basis, whatever it may be. 100%. And, you haven't gotten to where you are, Jared, just by having this talent. You are very talented. And I said you are taller than me, which is very true. But, no, you've put in the work. I mean, we've been playing since what, 4 years old, whatever it was. And from that point, we've basically played every day, worked on the things that we weren't so great at, worked on the things that we were great at to only get better at. And you've put in the work and you've done all of this stuff. And the biggest, thing in my perspective and why you get chosen every week to go start for the Greenville Triumph is your consistency. You do these things every week and do them very well.
Yeah, 100%. I appreciate that. I think that being, like me personally, for this being my first year, that was at the forefront of my mind, was developing something that both the coaching staff and the senior players on the team could trust, because I came into a team that had left backs and two center backs being, veterans. Like they were, they've been around in the league for a while. They played higher than the league. Just overall, just like sturdy players that know what they're doing. So going into that and like trying to let them know off the jump, like what I'm about and what I can do, what I'm not comfortable doing. And then you kind of build that with the players around you. So if you can develop that consistency with them, that kind of helps propel you. And speaking specifically from a goalkeeping standpoint, if you can develop a relationship with center backs, outside backs, and if you're playing a 3-back, then a wing back, and something along those lines, and you find out their strengths, they find out your strengths, then you can kind of work towards making a seamless connection. And that, I think, takes care of itself. Then you can all draw off each other for confidence.
Yeah, that's a massive part of it. I think, you just hit the nail on the head, which is, confidence is a massive, massive thing, especially for, center backs, outside backs, wing backs, whatever it is. You have to be able to trust that goalkeeper and be confident in him. So that's massive.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think this is great information, right? You can clearly, this is the first time I'm meeting Jared, and you can clearly tell that you're passionate about what you do. You've worked extremely hard to get where you've ended up, which is obviously credit to you. Could you go into more detail on what your journey was like? When did you first start playing? When did you become clearly better than Aaron? And then Where did you, how did you, because US soccer in general is insane, right? You know, you can go academy, you can year, you can go college, you can go straight to the pros. Like
Mhm.
what was your journey like? Obviously playing, I'm assuming you started in a travel or like a rec, and then you kind of just bang, bang, bang and went all the way through.
Yeah. So when I first realized that I was better than Aaron was January 24th, 1999. That's
your
my
birthday?
birthday. Yeah. But yeah, growing up, so obviously I like to say that I took a traditional route to things. Started like a local club team, and then the next progression was move into an academy team or a pre-academy team at the time, which was FC Westchester. FC Westchester then slowly turned into Everton FC Westchester, where we got like that sort of connection. That's how I met Leon. And then yeah, I basically played there my entire youth career, just being like academy. I played with the 98s, and I think that was like my first year. So then I played with the 98s, and then when the 99s became academy, then I went with them. So I've been playing academy and like playing up for like a while. Towards the end of high school, my last year of high school, I played in New York Soccer Club, which is like a I don't know the name of the league. I always forget. I'm sorry. But yeah, I was there for 1 year, and then I went to VCU for a year, Virginia Commonwealth University. I then transferred to Quinnipiac, where I played for 4 years. I started for 4 years, and then that's kind of like where the
Did you cross back over with Leon then? Was you
no. So
then?
I left. I got there when Leon left.
All right. So
Right? Isn't that? Did I get that right?
they brought you in to save Leon's bacon, right? Oh, that was what it was. These goalkeepers can't dive to the right.
That was it. That was it.
That's harsh.
That was literally it. Yeah.
That was my legacy. That was my legacy when I left. I said, we'd really struggled the year before because I think we had 3 goalkeepers, and I don't know if you want to talk about this later on, Jared, about the goalkeeper and being a lonely position, and there is only one spot and the importance. And that they've got it at Arsenal right now with Ramsdale and
Right, yeah.
Do you go with 2 number 1 goalkeepers and say you're battling it out, or do you have a number 1 goalkeeper and a number 2, and then we had Mo as well, didn't you? As almost as it was happy to be a 3.
Mm-hmm.
There certainly is a pecking order or a hierarchy for goalkeepers, but I know at the Quinnipiac the year before we had 1 goalkeeper. The number 2 wasn't happy with being number 2. Number 3 wanted to transfer. It almost stage where I said to head coach, we need to put an outfield player in for warm-ups so the other team don't think we've only got 1 goalkeeper.
Yeah.
No, so with regards to goalkeeping recruitment, it kind of the stars aligned, didn't it? Where I'd still kept in touch with you at VCU and Quinnipiac goalkeeper, and then I went off to concentrate more on the club stuff.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like we could definitely tick on that 100%. I'll finish this point up real quick. After Quinnipiac, I left in December and went on trial, and then found myself at Greenville. So then I was there for I just played the second year of my contract, my option year. So like I said in the beginning, I'm a free agent now, so I'm going to be looking to add all my options and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely to Leon's point, like being a part of the goalkeeper union is both it's a blessing and it's a curse, because everyone loves each other and everyone wants to see each other succeed, but at the end of the day we play the same position. Yeah, exactly. And being at VCU, I wasn't even really ever in the mix, and that's kind of why I decided that I had to leave in order for my progression. And I'm confident enough to say that I didn't feel like I was ready to be a playing goalkeeper because of my mentality towards the goalkeeper union. I didn't see myself as someone who needed to progress the group every single day. I was more of a person that was like, why me? Why am I in this position? As many people are, like when you're young, like trying to accept that after playing every single game your entire life, to coming into a team where you're not even like the second choice, that's like blasphemy. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, that's just being a teammate. You're new to a new environment, and learning your new role is always important. But also to Leon's point, being the current situation at Arsenal and having two number ones, David Raya and Aaron Ramsdale, is like a slippery slope. I've also heard Mikel Arteta say some crazy things about maybe like he should have changed goalkeepers at halftime in a couple games, which I just don't agree with, and that doesn't make any sense to me either. So maybe it's Arteta who's got it wrong, but it's also Mourinho when he had Courtois and Asmir Begovic at Chelsea. Those are another two number ones. So I think a goalkeeper union best functions with a 1-2-3 system. I just, in my opinion, and last year, fortunately enough, last year when I came in as a clear number 2, just because of the landscape of the union, and I was pleasantly surprised myself in fulfilling that role and being someone who came into work every day with a smile on my face and just looking to bring up others around me. If my opportunity came, it came, but I was really there to push the number 1, learn as much as I could from him, someone who I really admire, Paul Christensen, give you a shout out. And it was something that I think ultimately propelled me into this year, because I was able to humble myself enough to where I can kind of, take the reins, and, I didn't have any outlandish expectation of myself, because I wasn't like, why me? Why this? Why that? I was just kind of accepting of my position, just like I was this year. I was a starter, so I was accepting that I was a starter, and I accepted all the roles that came with it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great thing to point out, is that, you came in being number 2, you started being number 2, but ultimately it made you a better goalkeeper.
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
you learned a lot from not starting and following somebody, and then when you had the opportunity to start, you employed all of those lessons that you did learn.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you spend all your time learning, then when the time to use all those skills comes, then you'll fly. Like I truly believe that. You have to humble yourself enough to where you're still learning, but you're confident enough to where you still think you're the best. And it's just a timing thing, especially with goalkeeper. Look at goalkeepers. You know what I mean? Like that's just the way it works.
Yeah.
Like we'll go back to Aaron Ramsdale. He was relegated twice in a row, and then goes to Arsenal and almost wins them the league. But now look at it now. Now Raya is playing. Like, goalkeeping is one of those positions that's so week to week, so basis, so opinionated that everyone thinks that you could have done better. Everyone thinks that they could have saved it, that you should have held it, that when that ball comes in and it's knuckling, you should have just held on to that. You shouldn't have spilled it, obviously, because that's what you were trying to do, was pop it right to the 9 for him to finish. Yeah. But I think that it's important. Yeah. It's important to realize that goalkeeping is an opinionated position. And it is, to Leon's point, one of the most loneliest positions. It probably is the loneliest position. It is the loneliest position.
And Jared, when you see around the world keepers that stay in the club as number 1s for a long time because exactly of that, the way they work day in, day out, and and they just remain in their number 1 position because the guy behind them, it's not that the guy's not that good as it is, as the other one is because it's just probably his work ethic is much better than the guy behind him.
Yeah, they've exactly right, and they've spent longer developing who they are as a goalkeeper. So that was honestly, like I think when you said that, it brought me to goalkeepers that have played for a long time for their club, and I don't know, do you know who Rogério Ceni is?
I know very well because I'm from Brazil, so I know very well.
Yeah, okay, exactly. Yeah, he's scoring free kicks. You're not going to find another goalkeeper who scores free kicks. So, he played there his whole career. He played since he was 18, whole career there.
One of his best games it was against Liverpool when São Paulo win the Club World Championship against Liverpool. And if you go on YouTube and you see that game, you can't believe what he did in that game.
Yeah,
it's just amazing. So
yeah, 100%.
Today is a coach, actually.
Yeah,
I heard John Harkes actually talking about Jared starting free kick training.
Yeah. No, I hit you have no idea how much it got to my head. We were playing 5-a-side, and I just decided to smash one. I literally just put it where the spider webs are, and it was absolutely unbelievable. But then I thought I could do it again.
I confident.
No, hamstring went. So did my confidence. everything just disintegrated after that one.
Well, one final question from me, Jared. You can clearly tell you have a lot of experience in the game. You've come over many different scenarios and situations. I coach U9 soccer, so very, very different to where you find yourself. But one of the biggest issues that I come across with some of my goalkeepers is it's such a difficult position to play because ultimately you make that one mistake and you joke yourself about, you meant to catch it, you didn't deliberately drop it for the striker to kick it in the goal. What would your advice be to like that U9, U10, U11 player? Just how do you manage those mistakes, right? Because if you're a striker, you could miss 10 chances, score the 11th, you win 1-0, and everyone's happy and no one cares about the 10 chances you've missed. But if you're that goalkeeper and you've made 20 great saves and you've missed the last one, then it's like, it's a difficult one. So it would be interesting to hear from your point of view for someone who's must have had that experience at a younger age and then to obviously find out ways to get through it to where you are now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, I make I was fortunate that I didn't make a lot of mistakes this year in the sense that like no one wants to make a mistake. But of course I made mistakes this year, and it's like I've always, or not always, I learned to tell myself before games, and as a goalkeeper, everything's already stacked against you. Like as a striker, you may think like, when I get on the top of the box, I'm going to leave my hips open and try and curl one to the far post. As a goalkeeper, you're just going, all right, wherever the ball goes, I have to go. I have to put myself in situations to save the ball, but I don't know where the ball is ever going to be. So something I always tell myself and something I always repeat on game day until the game starts and even when the game is playing is I always say this, and it might sound like silly. I always say there's a real world possibility that I don't win this game. There's a real world possibility that I let the ball go flying through my legs. There's a real world possibility I go for a punch and I miss it completely. There's a real world possibility that I get scored on 10 times. But I'm going to try my hardest no matter what and give maximum effort. And with that in my mind, I'm perfectly comfortable making mistakes. If I know I gave 100%, I'm okay with giving the ball to the 9 and like letting him score. Like I'm okay with, trying new things and, like getting the ball picked off. I'm okay with all of that because I know I'm trying and I know I'm trying to develop. Like I understand that my job here is unique and not many people ever are going to get to say that. I also know that I want to keep going up, and in order to go up, I need to show how good I am. And I know how good I am, but you can't let the fear of making a mistake, contradict how you're actually going to play, because then you'll stay where you are or you'll go down.
Excellent.
Great. Yeah, I'd say clip that, get that on social media. That's it. That's a great answer. Right? It's exactly what we want. We tell our kids, but coming from someone who's living it as a pro, which is our kids' dream that we coach. Yeah. Hopefully it hits a little bit more than me or Leon or Aaron or Pedro saying it. So no, that was great. And again, I am conscious of everyone's time we do take up, but yeah, no, I personally have learned something quite a lot here. And obviously I hope some of that people are listening. So yeah, no, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. Aaron, thank you for hooking us up. Hopefully we can do this a few more times and maybe even get you in person when you're in the area. Hopefully I hope you find a new club, but it's or stay where you are. But yeah, no, it would be great to go down and watch one day if we can make it
100%.
Make it work right. So
yeah,
awesome.
Thank you, Jared, for joining. And now you've heard from two Mazzolas, and the
we get the third one.
Well, I guess Evan from a URI club perspective. But yes, you've heard from the tallest Mazzola and the best Mazzola.
What is the height difference? Is it?
I'm
is
5'6".
it big?
He's 5. I'm 6 foot. It's not like that big. Is that big? No.
Yeah, I've seen Aaron stand on his tiptoes before, trying to get a little bit bigger. So yeah.
Was he trying to pee in the urinal?
That's every picture I'm on my tippy toes. So yeah, thank you, Jared. If Leon, Pedro, do you have any questions? Any more questions you wanted to ask?
No, I'm all good. Great for having Jared with us today. I learned a lot, and thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
100%. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Jared. Great to see you again.
Of course. Yeah. Anytime. Just let me know if you want any field players, and I can throw them on the podcast as well.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw Lucas behind you. He's coming out the door there. Maybe
Is he
that's
coming right now?
well, before he was.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that's an interview for another day. We get Pedro on, they start speaking Portuguese and all that stuff, and then
Oh yeah. Perfect.
That's it. As we keep growing this podcast, right, Aaron, we can start doing these on location because we'll get so many sponsorships. Me and you can fly down and we do the next interview in person, right?
Don't tempt me. I'll book these tickets now. But yes, thanks again, Jared, and good luck to you in the future. Figuring out where you're going to be, but as a professional goalkeeper, good luck to you. And I just publicly, I wanted to tell everybody how proud I am of you, because
Thank you.
It's been a long journey, and none of us really thought you were going to get here. We all hope that you were going.
I appreciate it.
You've got to have
no, I'm not saying it like that. None of us knew.
Hey, Jared, when you
that's a personal joke for us guys.
Yeah.
Jared, when you make to a Premier League or something like that level, just don't forget about us for their first tickets.
100%. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Especially the four of us here.
Heck yeah. That's the truth.
Yes, we're all proud of you. The Mazzola fam is all proud, but thanks for coming on, and hopefully we get to have you on again.
100%. I appreciate it.
So
Thank you guys.
Go enjoy that beautiful South Carolina weather you got over there.
I will.
It's cooler there now, right? Not as humid.
It's actually kind of cold. I'm not gonna lie. I was shivering a bit.
You're from South Carolina now. You forget the winters in New York.
Yeah.
Been a little too long.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's been a great podcast, and thank you, Leon. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Pedro, for joining, and thank you again, Jared. So, all right.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good week. Have a good weekend. Talk to everybody soon.
See you soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Interview Podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, find us on Facebook and Instagram, and check out our website, www.interctfc.com.